Trucker Dump for September 27th, 2011, Episode 75. Who's a Trucker?
Welcome to Trucker Dump, where you'll get one driver's insights and sometimes humorous views of truck driving and the trucking industry, and pretty much anything else he feels like dumping on you. This podcast is brought to you by AboutTruckDriving.com. Resources to help you understand the world of truck driving through the use of stories and a pathetic attempt at humor.
What's up, folks? Todd McCann here. Today, my goal is to confuse you. Yeah, I'm well aware I'm already pretty good at that without even trying. But today, I'm going to ask you to look at yourself and do some soul searching. Jeez, look at me getting all deep and stuff. So today's question is, who's a trucker? No, seriously, that's a real question. Does just driving a truck make you a trucker, or is there something more to it? Sorry, I realize I didn't put a quiz on your syllabus, but hey, that's the nature of the dreaded pop quiz. Deal with it. And don't you dare stick that gum to the underside of your desk. Now here's the reason I ask. I don't really consider myself a trucker. Neither does the evil overlord. It's not a conscious decision that we made. It's just been that way ever since we started driving in the summer of 1997. Every time someone asked us what we did for a living, we'd say something like, we drive a truck for a living. We've even told people we're truck drivers, but I can't ever recall us saying we're truckers. I'm guessing I probably said it before without thinking, but if so, it's rarer than roadkill tartar. So why is that? Well, I don't know about you, but I guess I have a stereotype trucker in my mind. I think of a trucker as someone who looks, acts, and talks the part. They buy miniature truck collectibles. They know all the NASCAR drivers. They never drive without their CB turned on. But for the most part, I'm talking about drivers who talk about trucking all the time. I've got some family friends who have truckers in the family. Every time we get together, they talk about trucking. A lot. I always find myself heading to the ladies' table before too long. Go ahead, make your jokes about my manliness, or lack thereof. I can handle it. And I've got my mascara handy for when I start to cry. Hey, I drive a truck 11 hours a day, 3 to 4 weeks at a time. The last thing I want to do is talk about trucking. When the evil overlord was my co-driver, we never talked about trucking unless it had something to do with our current load. Now that she's off the road, we still don't have long talks about trucking. It rarely comes up. That's just the way we are. I know I'm not the only one. Take my friend Alan, that's aka Alan Q. Bristol, who I met on Twitter. There'll be a link to his Twitter page in the show notes. Twice now we've shared a meal when I was in the Denver area. Sure, we talked about trucking matters a little bit. We do have that in common. But you'd think two guys who met on Twitter because they both drove a truck would talk about trucking. But no. We've talked about our pets, our friends, relationships, politics, religion, and the cesspool this world is becoming. Now, I've never asked Alan if he considers himself a trucker, but I'll bet he doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong. It certainly wouldn't be the first time that's happened. I guess I've always considered myself to be a truck driver, not a trucker. Maybe that's just a matter of tomato. Is it? Once again, I really don't know. Am I a trucker because I've driven a truck for 14 years? What's the time limit? I know many hardcore truckers don't consider rookie drivers as truckers. Heck, many times they don't even consider them truck drivers. They call them steering wheel holders. Other super truckers don't consider you a truck driver if you drive a truck with an automatic transmission. Maybe I'm just being retarded. Once again, that wouldn't be the first time I've ever been accused of that. The evil overlord is full of loving comments like that. Does it even matter what I call myself? I think it does. I'm not a trucker. I drive a truck for a living. I do my job each day, and then I pursue other interests. I'm doing fun stuff on my Mac or playing a game on my iPhone. Even when I'm sitting in the cab of my truck or in a Wendy's writing a blog post, I'm not really thinking about trucking. Heck, you folks have read my blog posts. It's not like I spend a lot of time researching and pondering these topics. An idea just pops in my head when I'm driving. I take note of it, and then I sit down one day and write a rambling string of 1,600 opinionated words. Sorry about that. I think perhaps the biggest difference between truckers and truck drivers may be how they look at the job. Listen, I know this is going to sound bad, but that's never stopped me from saying stupid crap before. So here goes. Send your hate mail to Ah, screw it. Send it to Alan. I don't want it. I drive a truck. I know how important the job is. I know the skill that's involved. I know how hard it is to be away from your family for weeks at a time. I know that I should have more pride in my job than I do, but I don't. I'm ashamed to say that when someone asks me what I do for a living, I don't say, I drive a truck with my chest stuck out. I say it expecting them to think less of me. Heck, I usually say, I drive a truck for a living, and then with a whisper and a smile I say, but don't tell anyone. Even when they act interested, I can't help but imagine that they're thinking, this guy must be an uneducated loser. I guess that's just the way I feel about it. Is it wrong that I don't feel pride in doing a job that I know deserves it? What do you think? Leave a comment and let me know what you think about this topic. And let me know, are you a trucker or a truck driver? Or is there a difference?
Hey, yo, bud, where do you want this load of feedback?
You know, considering the Doing Dallas podcast had a story of me in a gay bar, I was expecting a lot more comments, but oh well. Here's what I got. Patricia Powers says, well said, Todd, as usual. Luckily, we didn't have too many problems with lot lizards at truck stops, but maybe that was because both of our names were on the door. When we did get a knock in the middle of the night, my husband yelled to get the hell out of there. That usually sent them away quickly. My husband has a very deep and scary voice when he's pissed. I don't like Dallas much either. It's right up there with Los Angeles and no truck parking. Los Angeles is worse by far for no truck parking. Just try to find a truck stop in the middle of LA. There aren't any big ones at all, and the tiny little ones are always packed to capacity. Hilarious about the gay bar. LOL. Well, perhaps you're onto something, Patty. The evil overlord and I never had our names on the door. Mainly because we never had CB handles, and we were always getting knocks from lot lizards. Even when we had our no lot lizard stickers in the window. I thought they just couldn't read, but maybe they can. As for LA, you're sure right about the parking situation. Or should I say, lack of parking situation. The only thing I miss about LA is the miles to and from there. Old friend says you could always get a recording of Patricia's husband's voice and add a big scary dog bark to it. Well, of course, you would still be awake. Great gay bar story. I would have paid to see that. Well, Andrea, I imagine there's a lot of people that would pay to see that. All I gotta say is I'm glad it's not on video. And lastly, Lisa Nowak, a non-trucker, says, I've never been to Dallas, and it sounds like it's just as well. I have slept in some truck stop parking lots, but I didn't have any trouble with the lot lizards. Well, Lisa, in all fairness, I don't get knocks from lot lizards at most truck stops either. It's usually just in the big cities, especially if the truck stops aren't in very good neighborhoods. You probably just weren't in the right place at the right time. Even though you weren't in a semi at the time, I doubt that would have stopped them from knocking on your door. They're equal opportunity hoes. So thanks to the three of you who wrote in. I always appreciate getting comments. So if you've got a comment on this podcast or any of the past ones, here's how you can contact me. Alrighty folks, today's assignment is to write in and tell me whether you're a trucker or a truck driver and why you think that's so. I'd like to hear from you non-truckers too. What pops into your head when you think of truckers? No brown nosing allowed. Be honest. I promise I won't cut you off. I need all the listeners I can get. Just head on over to abouttruckdriving.com, type Who's a Trucker into the search bar, and share your thoughts. I've also been known to answer email that's sent to truckerdump@gmail.com. You can locate me on the time waster known as Twitter too. Just search for Todd McCann, or there's a link in the show notes. And remember, that's 2 D's, 2 C's, and 2 N's. So until next time, drive safe and stay out of my way.